Of the day.
Trying now to,
I think we're live.
Yeah.
We are, so.
Yeah.
I did. Cool, thanks. All right, so one of these phones is recording, the other one I'm watching. Okay?
The unit we're using is on loan to Highway Hills from Indiana Middle. They can't use it because their facility is big enough, they have to run the sound through their sound
We can
system.
start.
We're getting a new sound system in the gym.
Perfect.
But they said we could try it. It's a $400 unit.
It's got something for you upstairs.
Okay.
Sounds
Do I have
like
to
we
go
have
now?
those. We have the speakers turned on.
Yeah.
Hello.
What's that?
You say Kat's got something for me?
Yeah.
Go up now or
It
later?
doesn't sound like it was urgent, she just wanted me to give you a heads up.
Anyway, you can zoom it.
Thank you.
You can move it back and forth with an iPhone. And that's the whole idea of it.
That's great.
Right. We'll see how it works tonight. This is the first live we've ever been. Okay, I'm gonna get that started. I'm calling this May 15th, 2018 meeting of the Hideaway Hills Board of Trustees to order, and let the record show that all board members are in attendance except Linda Lonsinger, Valerie Barker. Linda they're both excused. And yes, we don't have to, we might as well warn people to turn off their cell phones like me. Right.
What time does the meeting start?
Oh, the meeting started right at 7.
7 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
All right, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
That was by Dwayne and second by Jim Krieger. Now, first on the agenda was Mr. Rich Radowski, who asked to go early because he had a conflict or something, and he's not here. So we'll move right on with the president's report in the hopes that Rich comes down. Just a note to everybody that the parking over at the clubhouse, the ban of parking where people park parallel to the road is going to be enforced. It's nothing new, and a rule, but it gets to be where a hazard for people. When the car is sticking out just a little bit in the road, even when it's not in the road, you can't see around it. So this kind of a warning, security is going to be enforcing that. We have an assessment increase that's going to be on the ballot. We'll be voting on that later. And I'm pleased to report that Cindy Lynch and Kevin McLean have come forward to have the non-board committee. It's not an official committee, but they said they'd like to lead an effort, I should say, to get that passed. With a 66 2/3 effort a few years back. And but I have heard very little negative. I think most people are saying, yeah, we do need it. They compare us to, the condo associations in Columbus, and you're paying a lot more for a lot less. I just like to thank all the people who were involved in the cleanups earlier. The chapel had a cleanup, the golf course had a cleanup, Garden had a cleanup, ORV's got one coming up this Saturday, and that's a lot of volunteer effort, and it makes Hideaway Hills the kind of place it is. And speaking of Hideaway Hills, the kind of place it is, next weekend, sort of the unofficial kickoff of summer. You get yoga at 9:30, you get a 5K run at 9, you get a new member reception at 10, you've got a family fun day at the pool at noon. You've got a deck tour at 1, and Phil Gert and the Dozers comes in the evening. So that's one heck of a weekend for Hideaway Hills. So people are going to be busy. With that, I am going to try to ask our secretary, Eric Lapp, who's running around the room.
It's not picking up well.
Okay, now we're moving.
Well, I'm yeah, you're hard to hear.
Well, sorry. So, we're asking Eric if he's got any correspondence. You down the run?
There's no correspondence.
That's it. All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last board meeting?
So,
Rich Reiser,
I'll second.
Dave Miller, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They are approved. Okay, Mr. Radowski, good timing.
wow.
Come on up, we're gonna have you speak from up here.
Come on up.
Oh, yeah, come on down.
I would like to ask the board's permission to start setting up a marketing database. This idea came up several years ago when I volunteered to help the golf course committee get some additional sponsors for one of the tournaments. And I asked Randy if there were vendors that we did quite a bit of business with. I tried to later share some of this information, but it was always done verbally because I really didn't have it written down. We have members here that own businesses or might have a reason to support a specific project. Every time a committee head turns over, we potentially could lose some data about the sponsors. As I helped the committee this year, I ran into two people that pretty much said, yeah, we'd like to help you sponsor that, but our cash flow isn't good until midsummer. And I just feel like there's information like that is being lost as we have turnover, and it would be beneficial to have a database. And I might as well tell you up front, I see one potential problem with this, and that would be access. Who would be authorized to take a look at this? Because we may not want to share all the names of some of our big contributors, some of the names of our outside contributors. That's a problem I know I'll need to work on, but I'm not computer literate enough. Bill McGlinchey, if it's approved, will be helping me. Bill helped me when we wanted to get the board minutes on the computer, so you could access what you've done in the past with an index much easier. So at this point, I just ask her, are there any questions?
Rich, would you recap again the benefits of doing this?
I would say anytime we have turnover, anytime only one individual knows, like when Randy told me to get in touch, or one of our major vendors, we do over $100,000 worth of business with them. I was asking them for $100 and they said, yeah, sure, anytime Hideaway Hills wants some help, let us know. I find they've lost their sponsorship on the golf course. I assume it was from lack of follow-up.
So vendors and current advertisers is what you're saying?
Vendors, advertisers, outside people that make, like Ohio Mulch does a lot of, sells a lot of gravel here. They may be interested in some projects, maybe advertising, but not really the projects. I found when I did this for the golf committee this year, I spent about 4 hours figuring out who to call and about 2 hours making the phone calls to come up with another $400 in sponsorships.
Okay.
But the main reason is the loss of information every time you have turnover.
Good point. Anybody have any questions of Rich?
Question, I think it probably as simple as creating that list and having it kept here in the office. And as the committee chairman wants that information, they should be able to obtain it. They can just send it out that way.
Well, for sure, it will be a board decision who has access. And I'm sure we'll be able to figure out something where each committee can look at their potential people from their own database. But they shouldn't be able to go crossed because we will have people getting pestered, so to speak.
Mhm.
And also, it may say some pestering because I think we can all think of somebody here that owns multiple businesses. Some of them you might not recognize by name.
All right. Once we see what it is, then we can, make some,
Yeah, I just, don't even want to start it unless the board is okay with it.
no objections here, so.
Right?
Good stuff. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Sure.
All right, back to the agenda, regular agenda. Mr. Matthews, can we have a treasurer's report?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report. As of April 30th, 2018, we had $104,048.93 in the Benton County Bank.
Okay. Tom made the motion to accept that report. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is carried. I might say that the Jim Sickaboose was out of town, and he didn't have time to get to the office to train Penny as to how to give us the financials in the new format. He said you will have them later this week, because that's the format we're going to be looking at. And over the next month, we kill a lot of trees here, especially with the financials. And I would say, once you get used to the two different reports, we might say, which ones do you really want? I mean, the one that Jim's format is the one that hits me, and it's got everything. Although, we should, take a look at, know what's in the other one, especially like the balance sheet. So, we can talk about that next month, though, but we'll have it be out later. It'll be emailed to you.
Greg, did you do the minutes? Consider the minutes?
Yeah, Fritz and,
Keeping track of us, huh? All right. With that, moving on, we're going to management committee reports. Mr. Kirk.
Well, I'll start off with some great news. Jonathan Bobst, B-O-B-S-T, I had to ask him how he pronounced his name, accepted the position as to replace Matt. Most of you probably saw the announcement that Matt's leaving us the 22nd. John is internal, has basically been Matt's assistant, so hopefully there will be no fall off when he'll take over. Unfortunately, that leaves us with, we need to replace him and one that left, ended up at the same place Matt's going to. Matt swears up and down he didn't recruit him. The guy kind of was going there anyway, so we need 2 cooks. But while I'm on the subject of hiring or the process, security is down to only needing 1 part-timer for the lake patrol. It's kind of going to be a tough position to fill. You're only offering a guy 1 day on a weekend, so they're going to kind of look and see if there's some way they can move some hours around. But they're down to that. Maintenance needs 1 full-time, and they filled all the seasonal positions. We thought we were done, and then we had a young man decide to go somewhere else at the last minute, so we need 1. We had some comments, complaints about the look of that the shed that's on the back of the guard shack down there. And since we moved the replacement of the whole guard shack off at least till next year, we decided to paint the guard shed. And it was pointed out that if we paint that, it won't match the shack. So even though the goal is to sooner or later replace the shack, we're going to throw a coat of paint on them so that they match. So that way when people come to the front gate, it'll be a nice and pleasant atmosphere and look good and all that. Let me see. Speaking of paint, the parking stripes on the spillway are done, which includes 2 handicap spots. Also includes 2 10-minute offloading, unloading spots. I think we're still waiting for a sign on a post to define that, but they put 10-minute parking only on the parking blocks. And that no parking sign, by the way, will get moved to the new location there behind number 1 T, right? So so that, the people that seem to like to park there, it's amazing somebody hasn't gotten hit. But we left here last night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, maybe that's what it takes.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, really. But the parking sign's gonna go up there. One last thing, as some of you saw on Facebook or in the e-blast, the Boar Hill gate was down for 18 hours. Getting it back up and running involved using most of our backup stuff. We had a backup motor, we had a backup computer board. We pretty much had a whole extra unit, and now we don't. So, having said that, that'll probably be a '1 priority on equipment replacements for next year. We're hoping we can make it till then, but we'll need to get one in reserve. It's not a good thing when we can't open a gate. Any questions?
We were able to get it fixed today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morning.
It was coming open sometimes, about a third of the way it's stopping.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I go out that way in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and so I always end up going out, Janet's Ward. Yeah.
Rick O'Neill figured it out. It was an
Yeah.
electrical tech.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have Rick.
Yeah.
True.
And, you know, it was nice of security to man it, so people could get in and out, because, you know, we've talked about it, and both the board and management, the decision is, if a gate is down, a gate is closed. We're not leaving gates open.
Right.
That was handled well. Any other questions, Jim? Moving on, Randy, you're up.
Didn't get a chance to get the new delinquency numbers on here, so I've got the ones that, from March and April. March assessments were 35,208. They were down a little bit in April to 35,269. Oh, actually, that's I think that's the incorrect number there. I apologize for that, because they were down in April. The roads for March was 2,790, and they were up a little bit in March for $3,010. But still, that's not bad. Dam assessment total as of Friday was $401,305. So we're moving along very, very well, paying off the dam assessment. I sent a e-blast out there yesterday about a couple break-ins that we had. They weren't actual break-ins, they were thefts. There was no entry into either one of the homes. Somebody lost a four-wheeler, they got taken, and then somebody had some lawn equipment and stuff that was outside taken. So sheriffs were called, as far as I know, came in, took a report, and that's where we are with that. But I just thought it'd be a good idea to make people aware of the fact that it is the season that seems to happen here in the springtime, unfortunately. We had
Randy, along those lines of the four-wheeler, have we been able to review any security tapes or
That's
anything?
exactly what I was gonna ask.
That's not an option?
Well, it is, but have no idea when it was taken. They said within the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, to try to review any security tapes would just take forever to try to do that. I mean, you wouldn't know what gate they went in and out or anything like that.
Well, wouldn't we want to just pass that on to the sheriffs and let them take weeks to?
Well, they would. Yeah, they could. They would.
Why not? I mean, if they want to get the bad guy, that's the one way to do it.
In 2 weeks, you've got 336 hours.
Yeah.
You've got 4 gates.
Yeah,
It's
4
like,
gates.
it'd be like 1,500 hours.
Well, you don't even know if it left the premise.
That's exactly correct. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't realize there was that big of a window
Oh, yeah.
that was,
But how far back, that's an interesting question, how far back can we go with our
Well,
security
typically
tapes?
they only go back a week.
A week.
Yeah.
But having been in charge of trying to catch somebody pilfering desks at a company one time, watching security tapes are just terrible.
Well, the other thing about that is there's members that go in and out with ATVs all the time. And so,
Yeah.
tough to do.
Hey, also along that line, there's some comments on Facebook about security didn't do anything. I think people get the misconception when they come out, they tell them to get a sheriff's report, that they expect them to do more, and I don't know that there's
Well,
much that they can do.
we've addressed that.
Okay.
We've addressed that, and it's a matter of perception, basically,
Yeah.
on how you speak to a member, and how you respond to a member. And yeah, I was a little disappointed myself, and so we have addressed that.
Okay.
And I'll cover a little bit more on that here, or a little bit more in the program. We had a situation where, I don't know, most of you know Reverend Bob Woods. He lives right up there on one of the first houses on Natchez, as you turn left up there at the top of the hill. Stopped in security. He had reached down in, picked up some keys, and cut his hand really bad. And I guess he's on blood thinners, and he was bleeding very bad, and got it all over his clothes. And Mike was there. He asked Mike for help, and Mike went out there and he bandaged him up, got him cleaned up, and took care of him. And Bob stopped in, and he was very, very appreciative of what Mike had done. So management committee is going to reward him in a certain way, because we felt he went above and beyond in that situation. And Bob did too.
I was gonna say also, we put all security through first aid training.
Yes.
Check off all employees, and that
Right.
paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. As you've probably noticed, the new speed humps are installed. I think we have a few more to install in a couple of different places, but for the most part, they're all down. The pizza oven has been hooked up. All three ovens have been hooked up and are working. At least as far as I know, I haven't heard any complaints. We are now in the process of finishing up pricing on a exhaust fan, because with all three ovens in there, it gets really hot. And so I had hoped to have that number today. I didn't hear back. I talked to him yesterday, and he was hoping to have that final number. He gave us a cost on the hood, but hadn't figured the ductwork or labor yet. So that is forthcoming. Also, we had talked last time about paperless echo and how to move forward with that. We sent out a survey. Surprisingly enough, we've got several hundred responses back, which was really surprising. And actually, they're running about 50-50. And so what we're doing now is Penny is checking with the post office to see where the cutoff is, because we get bulk mail prices with what we sell now, or the way we work it now. She's going to see what that cutoff is and see that the people that wants paper echoes, we will, send them that as long as it falls within the bulk rate prices, and the others will email them. As you know, we've talked about and I didn't, it wasn't on the list here tonight, but the new database, which is supposed to be done the 15th. The young lady's mother is in hospice. She said she'd like a couple more days, so it should be ready by the end of next week. And with that said, it's going to be as easy as a click of a mouse to check off those people that don't want the echo or do want the echo. And we'll be able to email that to them if they don't want the paper echo. So that should be some savings there, hopefully.
If you don't send anything in, Randy, does that automatically mean you don't get it? Or
No, it automatically means you'll still get it.
Still get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'll save. I mean, like I said, we lost almost $1,000 last year on the echo, and if we can save at least that or make a little money, I think that'll help a lot. $1,000, $1,000. So that's all I have. Unless anybody has any questions. Oh yes, that's all I have for now.
All right.
Did you breathe on it? Or?
Any other questions for Randy?
Growl.
Yeah.
Hearing none, we'll move into committee reports, and I'll start. I think you all should have a copy of the nominating committee posting that's going to go up. It'll go up tomorrow because we have to get it up by a certain date, although Kathy Clivenger is in Colorado, so she didn't sign it. We'll type in her signature. She'll sign it when she comes back. But we have three candidates running, Mr. Dennis Aubrey, and Tom Matthews, and Fritz Reiser. We have resumes from 2 or 3. I don't know, Fritz, you can get your new resume in yet.
It's mine.
And we will publish that. So, I would like somebody to make a motion to accept the nominating committee report
So moved.
by Dwayne Mack. Second? Come on now.
Eric, yes,
Eric
Well,
Lynn.
this is on the committee, I probably shouldn't.
Right, good point. All right, moved by Dwayne, seconded by Eric. All in favor of accepting the nomination committee report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is accepted. I might point out that this is the nominations from the nominating committee, which the president has to appoint. Any member can nominate themselves, or somebody can nominate somebody else if the member agrees until May 31st. So they've got until May 31st to do that. We may have additional candidates.
What do they have to do, Greg?
Basically, just get the form, the same form that these three nominees have filled out.
Don't they have to have a petition? I'm trying to remember, Greg. I think they have to have a petition with 10% of the people that voted last meeting. Am I correct on that, or is that something else?
That's if they wanna put a
Yeah, that's what you want,
amendment on the
change the code.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so that they wouldn't need a petition, they just have to come in and.
Right.
And,
I'm sure we could reconvene the nominating committee to review it. And you voted. I mean, we asked a lot of folks, we really did, and but, you know, we had a lot of people who said, maybe next year, and others said, don't ever talk to me again, so that's where we're at.
Okay, moving on, Mr. Krieger, that report on the lodge.
Yeah, just a quick report here. We're in the midst of, literally, we've got an approved plan, it's been signed, it's been certified. The contractor issue is probably what I'm dealing with now. The plan was all along was to have a local contractor and have a fair amount of volunteer help with it. There've been a couple slowdowns in that. We're not done with it. I'm starting to work on a plan B, but nevertheless, hope to report back fairly quickly. We've done all of the analysis of the equipment or material that we need. We have pretty good working estimates on all those, so it's driving me crazy, but we gotta get this thing going, and we will soon. Hopefully by the time we have the next meeting, we'll be in business. I think we're okay with funding. We've got another fundraiser here. Of course, you never know that until you really get to the final pieces when you order things. But we have bids and or quotes on most of the stuff that we need, and so I think that is going along. It's not going as quickly as I wanted. I was hoping really to be starting construction right now. We didn't want to do it earlier because of the uncertainty of the weather, and you know, there's a fair amount of foundational stuff that we're putting in, the structural stuff, and you don't want to put that in when it's either wet or frozen. So that part is all good. You know, hang on, we'll get there. We'll get there. So and believe me, I'll let you know. I mean, you'll see people out there working just as soon as we can get at them. So.
Any questions of Jim?
Do we have enough funds to cover all the costs, or we're just still close?
You know, until we get the final price, I think we're within shouting distance of it. We got the fundraiser coming up next week, and then there's a couple other people whom I have spoken to, who I think if we got into problems, that we would try to come up with some contingency funds. Yeah, that's the best I would like. You know, there's some people who gave and said, well, if you get into mine, give me a call back.
Good stuff from Hideaway Hills, that people getting involved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I couldn't ask for more.
But people getting involved, I've got to, and I'll try to remember to send each board member a reminder for you to contact your committees, that we only got 2 committee reports in, and you know, it's a pain for them, but you know, it helps knowing what's going on. It also makes them plan a little bit too. So, and you're supposed to know what's going on in your committee, so you know, get to those people and get the reports in. With that, I'll go around and I'll start with Dwayne.
Range committee had field day down at the range. We changed a couple of things around, beautified a couple of things.
You did cleanup down there too? Mm-hmm. I didn't mention that in my opening remarks. I wasn't sure range had a
May
cleanup.
5th.
I'm sorry. All right. Very good.
Ready for the season.
Yeah, I've got a new committee chair here who just woke me up. Anything else from you first, Dwayne? No comment request? All right, I skipped Mr. Lloyd, who's now the
You-
airport committee chair.
I was blocking you.
Just
I don't
call
have
him
any-
Bucky.
No. I don't have any fun requests,
But I did, it's in the report, I'm one of the people that did send it in. Airport committee had a preliminary meeting last Wednesday. We'll have another meeting a week from tomorrow. We started preliminary planning on a fly-in on September 1st. We'll invite, short takeoff and landing aircraft to come in. There's a Bush Pilots Association that Todd is aware of, and he's gonna get in touch with them. A couple other people we're gonna get in touch with. They'll be flying in from 1 to 4. There'll be static RC control planes set up there, and then after 4 o'clock when they fly out, there'll be a demonstration of helicopters and drones and RC aircraft. We'll have 50-50 drawing. We're working on having food down there. We're not sure exactly what we're going to do, but more to follow. But we are moving on what we said we were going to do, so we are moving forward.
All right, thank you. Sounds like a good idea. All right, Mr. Reiser.
One thing I have is from the garden committee, both pillars are now running, which none of them were before. So that's good news, and today is actually the frost-free date, so there should be a lot of more activity with warm crops.
And we went from winter to summer. What happened to spring?
Right.
But yeah, okay. In the garden, it feels looking better with all the cleanup there. So you don't have a committee, do you?
Well, the Decker, the food, the fun and fellowship stuff, that's identity party did that.
Okay. Eric?
I have one or two things. Okay. What's this sheet? Okay. ACC has some openings. They would like to, they've given me 2 recommendations to fill those openings. One is Lori Cook. She's retired but has served 5 years on her previous Homeowners Association's ACC committee. 3 of those as chairman. The other person is Matt Woodrum. He's a contractor with 25 years experience and is a current business owner. I'd like to make a motion to accept these 2 individuals for the ACC committee.
Eric made the motion. Second by Jim Krieger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. They're accepted. Do you need any more?
I said, are you full?
Are you full?
I think it's full now. The ACC committee, is that what you're
Okay.
referring to? Yeah, I think we got enough.
Okay.
What do you think about running?
No. There was a lady who was interested in running. I can't recall her name, but she's zoning. You want to speak to that, Randy?
Kathy Rose, she just purchased a property here at the end of last year. She said she would be interested, however, she doesn't have a house down here yet. Planning on building here next year, I believe, so.
Well, reach out to
Yeah, yeah, so he
Okay.
knows that she's
Right.
there in case you have an opening.
Okay. New member committee, they got their big meeting coming up. They've got a list of things. The green reflective sign sale is continuing with almost 10 orders already this spring. The new member reception is May 26th from 10 to noon at the Lodge Great Room. The menu will include quiche, fruit, coffee, cake, and drinks. Anybody want to know that? We received responses from several committees, and board members are going to be showing up there and basically talking to the members and filling them in on what's going on. All new members, I guess there were 62 last year, have received a personalized letter of invitation. And when they get there, they'll be handing out totes and HAH koozies to those new members as part of what they're doing. They're continuing to do upgrades on new member packets. In addition to that, I'd like to ask for approval to purchase those koozies they're going to be giving out. The new member committee would like approval for $230 to buy 300 foam zone can coolers for the new member reception and giveaways afterwards.
All right, Eric, first of all, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Fritz. The motion is for to pay $230 from new member committee funds.
Yes.
Payable to.
I'm gonna go with Lance right now.
To pay for the can coolers to be given out at the reception. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none is passed. Sort of. Anything else?
That is all I got.
That's the secretary who does the motion. You understand? Tom?
The Health and Wellness Committee, May 26th is having their third annual 5K run. So far, I think they've got 40 runners signed up, hoping to get a few more, and then sponsors also. They're also still in the process of getting quotes for the fitness center, for the electric and the septic and the water. Looking at the lease, Frank is supposed to be up there, Frank Panacea, in July, and hopefully we get to sit down and talk to him. And so now just kind of a holding pattern, trying to get all our ducks in a row, that if it looks like it's feasible, we'll be able to go forward. On golf, would like to make a request to have a plaque, memorial plaque on the number 4 tee for Nick Panacea, in memory of Nick Panacea, for $180 payable to Paul Bauer. I'd like to make a motion for that.
All right, Tom made the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Dwayne. For a plaque to be put on hole number 14. We have 4. Hole number
We
4.
only have 9 holes.
On hole number 4.
4 or 13,
depending upon which round you're in. For $180 from golf committee funds, the plaque will honor Nick Panacea. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried.
There are quite a few nicknames for that hole. Are you going to use any of them on it?
No, it doesn't say anything about that.
Any of the ones that are just say in public? Okay. Anything else?
And also with the golf, the work day, they had a very successful work day Saturday, May 5th, had 31 volunteers come out, painted the restrooms on the course, removed the shell on number 3 tee shelter, replaced it and painted it, planted flowers and flower pots, power wash and stained the pavilion and picnic tables, filled the area around Hall sign, putting the putting green with new river rock, repaired the screens, shielding number 3, 7, and 9 tee boxes. Also, the memorial tournament was successful, held on May 12th, had 28 participants, and families of Don Wallace and Hetty Rose were honored. And hopefully have the fountain in on number 4, installed before the member guests on June 8th. And that's where we're going to dedicate the tee to Nick Panacea. Going to plant a few trees, and they also added some asphalt groundings to the number 5 tee box, cart path.
Mr. Griff.
Yep.
How about the hole-in-one?
The hole-in-one last night, Karen McNabb on the Mixed Couples League had a hole-in-one on number 4, or second on that. She
Really?
said she had one in 1998.
Nice.
So she
Was that over the water?
It was on the yellow tee.
Oh, the yellow tee.
So kind of.
Still hole-in-one.
No, I wasn't, I was just wondering.
Karen was gracious enough.
It was
to buy-
informational, not a challenge. Just wondered which one.
Did you see what she said on Facebook about it?
No, I did not.
She said if she knew it was going in, she'd have used a better ball. She used an old ugly ball.
Good for her. That's good.
Tom, anything else?
Tennis, they would like to make a request to have 2 fundraisers for the tennis and pickleball, August 11th at 4 p.m. Have a chicken barbecue, and to reserve it for the shelter house. And on September 2nd, between 2 and 5, they have a poker run starting from the tennis court parking lot.
Okay.
How about the fashion on the front of the clubhouse?
We got a motion on the
Oh, I'm
floor.
sorry.
Are you gonna second this motion?
I'll second that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Second. We have a motion on the floor that's been seconded for the tennis committee to approve 2 dates for fundraisers, August 11th and September 2nd. One is, I gotta get my notes.
August 11th, we'd like to reserve the shelter house.
Reserve the shelter house and
4 p.m.
At 4, and then the other one's a poker run from 2 to 5.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's passed. Anything else, Tom?
Yes, the tennis courts, M&D, so far they have filled all the cracks in the tennis courts, and repaired the low areas, and I saw today they put the black sealer on it to prevent the iron from bleeding through the asphalt. And as weather permits, there's gonna be a two-tone paint job on it, blue on the plain surface and green on the perimeter, and they'll both have tennis lines and pickle lines on
Okay. Mr. Miller.
Are you ready, Tom?
it. No.
Here we go. This is social committee. We're going to need approval for $3,500 for fill dirt and the dozers. I'll give you this one.
Okay.
Simba Jordan Band, $3,000. And Mark Pennington's opening up for Simba Jordan, and that's $400.
Hold on, go a little slower.
All right. Then, we're gonna need approval for $2,000 for Hop Gun. And then Soul Kitchen for $22.50. And then the, Micah Kesselring Band for $599.
You got a total on it?
I do not. I can work it out pretty quickly.
Well, I hope these bands don't watch this, because they're gonna know who's
Right.
Yeah, right. Who gets what? Yeah, you're right. And then I made a mistake when I asked for funds for the table rentals. We're renting them 3 times, so it's $437.78 each time, and we only got approval for 1. So we need 2 more for $437.78.
For two additional concerts?
Yes.
times 2.
Yes, and then we want to transfer $100 from social committee to the golf committee for the member guests.
Hold on, let's do the concerts first.
The concerts are, yeah, that's all right. You want me to total it up?
Tell me the numbers on it.
Okay.
3,500, 3,000,
Yep.
400,
Oh, yeah, right.
2,000, 2250, and 599.
And,
11,749.
Okay, and then add let's do that one separately. All right, so can we have a second on the concert, the funding for the concert?
Second.
And are these total funds or are these,
that's it, that takes care of it.
all right.
Yep.
Motion by Dave, second by Tom Matthews, just to approve $11,749 from social committee funds to pay for the summer concert series. All in favor?
Aye.
Jim?
I don't think you can approve all those, they've only got $7,900 in there. Now, they've got more coming in, but I don't think.
Yeah, we have the auction coming up on June 9th.
But I don't think you can approve that until, you can approve up to $7,903.
That's probably true.
That's probably good.
One more.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why don't we just do the first two then? All right,
Yeah, that's great, we'll do the first 2.
all right, will you withdraw your motion
I do.
and withdraw the second?
Withdrawn.
Okay, now let's go
All right,
again.
we're gonna do it again. Fill dirt and the dozers, $3,500. We're gonna need Simba Jordan for $3,000 plus $400 for Mark Pennington. So,
Then you've got
6,900.
6,900.
yeah.
All right. So we got a motion on the floor by Dave, seconded by Tom, to approve $6,900 for the first 2 concerts in the concert series. Now, they've already got the tables for the first concert.
Right, so we're all set there, so we don't need to even worry about these next.
Yeah, once you
tables.
get, they'll
Right.
just see about the others.
Right,
Good catch.
yep. And then.
Well, hold on, don't we have to approve?
We have to vote.
We haven't voted.
All right.
No.
No, you just amended the motion.
All right, we got the new motion, you know what it is? $6,900 for the first 2 concerts, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna put Tom down as the second.
Yeah, he said second.
On that, well,
And-
first time.
And we do have $100 left over for the member guests, right? So we could do that one as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so let's
You
do
got
that.
$1,000 left.
We'll transfer committee funds, social committee funds to the golf committee for $100.
Who's gonna second?
Second.
Second by Dwayne. All right, so motion by Dave, seconded by Dwayne to transfer $100 of golf committee funds to the, social committee funds to the golf committee for the member guests. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Then I have one more, just something I want to talk to you about. My neighbor, John Saxton's son-in-law, is a contractor, and he would like to donate a fire pit down at the amphitheater. And when I say fire pit, I didn't bring the pictures with me, but I showed them to Randy. It's all stone, and there's a really nice big ring. Gas, it looks like gas, but it's like you could use wood in it as well. It's got 4 columns on the outside corners, 30 inches tall, and then it's got a small sitting wall all the way around, and then it's all stone with a, and it's 15 by 20. And his only request is, since he's starting a new landscaping company, is that he'd like to put a little plaque on there advertising his company. And for that, he will give us that whole thing.
It's 15 by 20 feet.
Yes. Yes.
It's pretty big.
Sizable.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I wish I.
Where would you put it?
It's right here in the grassy area down here behind the concrete. So, first question is, is he allowed to put a plaque on it if he donates it? And then, would we submit this to the Architectural Control Committee for approval? If the board says yes, he can, and.
Yeah, I think we have to go to ACC, but,
Right.
Yeah, probably them first before the board.
I showed it to the Architectural Control Committee, but they wanted to know that the board was gonna be all right with it.
So that's 15 by 20 feet, 15 wide, 20 feet deep.
It's big.
It's almost dangerous.
No, the pit is.
That's the whole
it's a
area.
sitting.
Oh, I was gonna say, my God, what?
No, the ring is probably 6 foot around.
Okay.
big bonfire.
Jeez.
That would be.
Dave, does he say what he wants on the plaque?
He wants to put the name of his company on there.
Just like
Donated.
Donated by.
Right.
Comments?
Any reasons why we shouldn't do that or couldn't do that?
Suppose it doesn't say call 740.
Precedent setting, I know when we talked about names for the dam and all that, there was discussion at the board and saying we should have a protocol, a written thing about naming things. We're not naming it for them, we're supposed to put a plaque on it.
But it's an interesting thought, because if we actually do it, how many other companies might do something for us as well?
We accept sponsorships for the member guests for the entire year, because they're on the, so that, from that perspective.
That's advertising.
It's not a sign. It's not a sign. That's what.
It's a little
the
plaque
deed
that's right
says.
into the stone.
The deed says no advertising signs. It doesn't say a plaque donating.
Yeah, we need like golf the bench for Don
Yeah.
Wallace.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So, anybody have an objection then?
Those trees and things.
I think the only thing I'd like to do is see what it looks like and
Yeah, and
see what he's going to
I
put.
was running late and put it to
Yeah,
I didn't get a
understand.
chance to grab it, but,
I mean, I'd like to see what he's gonna put on, because if it's, I mean,
Well-
if it's coming up in the middle, every 12, every 12 minutes we get another, we probably wouldn't want that, but I think, if it's tastefully done and, sure.
I agree. I think we need to see what the sign's going to be, or the sponsorship signs.
Sure.
Before we.
that's great. I'll let them know.
All right, you can just email a picture maybe?
Yeah, I'll get it off to you.
Yeah, I think, I mean, from my perspective, you can tell them we're interested, we certainly would like to just go through the, I mean, if the others feel the same way, it's,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, we're gonna need Highway Hills' support for the auction this year, being as we're spending $11,000 on fans, so June 9th, everybody, we got a lot of stuff.
Buy stuff.
Yeah.
What's the biggest amount you've ever raised at the auction?
I think it's about $7,000.
Just about that.
I'm gonna donate a pontoon boat.
Yes, we have a pontoon boat, we have a John boat, we have a golf cart. Wow. And it's got a charger with it, so, new batteries.
Good deal.
Sounds good.
I'm buying that though, so.
Anything else on committee? Okay, Mr. Lloyd, would you go look? I don't think anybody signed the list.
Did you sign the list to speak? Did you sign the list to speak? Nobody signed the list.
Radofsky signed it, bring him back down.
All right, we will then go right by open forum and go into unfinished business. And Randy, tell us about the staff training.
Okay, we've talked about this last couple meetings. Cheryl Burnside has got together with Jim Kirk, Randall, and myself to plan this for the security guards. It is going to happen Saturday morning. It's going to be a 3-hour training process. And she has done a very good job of putting it together. She showed us a little bit about it this morning at 6:45. that was her meeting time for this morning. So anyway, that's going to happen, and I think she's put together a real good program for our guards. We talked a little bit about the response that was on Facebook about the thefts. We talked a little bit about that and a better way for security to respond to different scenarios. I sent her about 10 or 12 different scenarios. We talked about a few more at the meeting today, and so she's going to use them in this training period to try to get the guards to be a little bit more friendly, a little bit more personal, and talk about the personal aspect of it. She's also going to start putting the guards' names, pictures, and a little bit of a bio in the Echo, so to get people more familiar with the guards and who they are, what they do, and a little bit about their family life. And she's going to start out with Randall. We got a good picture of him and a fairly good bio for him. So she just felt that some of our members' perception of our security guards isn't the greatest, and especially from like was on Facebook just the other day, yesterday I guess, or whatever. And so she thought that would help, and I think it's going to be a really good thing, not only for the membership, but for our security guards to help them, not necessarily change their attitudes, but help them present themselves a little bit different to the membership in times when there's conflict. And as we all know, they had several of those situations last summer on the lake, and I think what she's put together is going to be really good for them guys. So that's finally going to happen. It's happening this Saturday. So yeah.
Is it an interactive thing, or is she giving the class, or is it a PowerPoint for like future security guards would be able to take this?
She has put a PowerPoint presentation together, and so yeah, we could use it for future guards.
Good idea.
Yeah.
It's pretty much everything you mentioned. They're
Yeah.
gonna do, they're gonna get up and do some play acting.
Yeah.
And
That's
try
something
to
she would
get
have
smiles
to-
on a couple of them's face and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Randy, would it be worth recording this, just like we're doing this here, so that a future, I don't know how much time you want to put towards that, a new guy coming on, what their training is, but.
Possibility. I can present it. Or
Would
see what you think.
that, some people don't really like a camera, it just
Yeah.
goes a completely 180-degree personality.
Especially if you're role playing.
Yeah, especially if you're role
You might
playing.
shut
That's
down a little bit if
definitely-
they're being filmed.
Well, there's pieces that you can.
But the presentation part.
Yeah, what we got going right now is really, it's point and turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Maybe they take the role play pieces out. Because I don't think anybody wants to watch 3 hours of.
Right.
That
Anyway,
anyway,
role
we gotta-
playing here. You
Well, just-
I can ask her. Sure. I can ask her
That way
questions.
we would have to pester her, she wouldn't have to be there if it's.
I point out though that if you're volunteering to do the editing software, and we've looked at 3 different editing softwares, require you to replay the entire thing. The whole 3, or you take out this 10 minutes and you gotta play 3 hours back and save it. It'd be a little tedious. It's doable, but it's tedious. I'm recommending. It's up to you, Randy.
Okay, I'll talk to her about it.
Ask her, because she might say, okay. All right, moving on, the home sales thing, Constitution had not met. We are gonna be meeting, because we've got that, and Management Committee made a good recommendation the other night that Yeah, right. Help me, Jim, what's it about? The management committee
We
wants
talked
us.
about it as something about,
Oh,
he just gave me a call. He just gave me a call when I'm hardly awake.
yeah, I know. I wasn't awake last night, apparently. What, you asked us to do a rule that, oh, I know. That anybody who uses the racks that for canoes or kayaks has to remove the canoe, kayak, or paddle boat, if that's what they got there, at the end of the season. And the reason being, people leave them there, and then they may not even have used them for 2 years, and they're still taking up rack space. We're having to make additional racks, and people appreciate the racks, but this way, if you're not using it, take it home, sell it, do something with it, just don't let it sit there. In some cases, people have forgotten about it, probably. They do have lot numbers, so that way we'll know who hasn't taken it back. But the Constitution's gonna add that to the list. We started out trying to get fewer rules, but people keep saying you gotta add a couple, so.
And if they don't take their stuff, will we pull this full
Boneyard
season?
How do you give it to the social
I see
committee?
we give them the
Well, I bring that up because around Eagle Claw, I mean, we had the high rains and people just didn't have enough room on the racks, and so there's a kayak out floating out there right now.
I would say we just tell them, if you don't do it by a certain date, we're gonna take it to the boneyard and we're gonna charge you $50. Like we would do at Pontoon.
Boneyard, yeah.
Pontoon, same way.
You know what you're.
And I think we'll also find that some of them are abandoned. People have moved out, and then they go to Dave and the social committee.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
All right, home sales is just nothing, no action on that. All right, now we are gonna reaffirm the e-votes. And again, if you may change your vote when we do this, that's one of the points of reaffirming. I put them in groups. I'm gonna reaffirm all the 8 O's first.
First off, do we just do a vote, or we need a vote to give them an approval, or to pull the votes at the end of the year?
Oh, well, I got a rule yet.
That's
We
gonna be
got,
a new rule.
we gotta write a rule on it.
Okay, so, all right.
We'll write the rule, and you're gonna get probably next month all the revised rules that Constitution is working on. Okay, good question. All right, I'll just read these quickly. These are the ones that were approved 8-0. An e-vote to approve the increase the Hideaway Hills monthly assessment to $180 per month beginning September 2018. On the 24th of April, an e-vote to approve Jim Lloyd as the chair of the airport committee. Also on the 24th, an e-vote to approve Article 9 action on lot 292. On May 4th, an e-vote to approve $500 from Lakes Committee funds to purchase materials for canoe racks. On May 4th, an e-vote to approve $437.60 from the social committee to rent tables and chairs from Taylor Rental for the summer concert series. And on the 7th, an e-vote to approve $273.32 from the new member committee funds to reimburse land sold for materials for the new member reception. On the 7th of May, an e-vote to approve tennis committee request of 2 fundraisers, a chicken barbecue at the shelter house on August 11th, and a poker run on September 2nd.
I wasn't on that email.
Yeah, you were. Anyway, we'll approve
I asked
it.
for it twice. I asked for it to you and for Greg, and I never saw it.
I was in California, but I know he did it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
We e-voted that one already.
Well, he can say yes.
We'll reaffirm it right now anyway. If it was e-voted, we gotta reaffirm it, that's all. Where am I now? On the 9th, an e-vote to reimburse Heather Ray $81.54 from the chapel committee funds for supplies and materials. All those were approved 8-0. They have motions to reaffirm those e-votes.
I'll make that motion.
Eric, and second by Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, those are approved. Now, these were approved 7-0. On the 9th, e-vote to reimburse Lisa Jones $349.17 from Chapel Committee funds she paid to Daryl's Greenhouse for Mother's Day flower sale. On the 25th of April, an e-vote to allow the Stitchers Guild to be a subcommittee of the Social Committee. And then on the 25th, an e-vote to have the Lancaster Festival concert at the amphitheater on Sunday, July 22nd at 7:30 at a cost of $750 from Communications Committee funds. All those were approved 7-0. May I have a motion to pass, reaffirm those?
Moved, so.
By Jim Krieger, moved, second
Second.
by Fritz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, no, hearing none, those are reaffirmed. Then on the 10th, we have an e-vote to pay Karen McNabb $2,625.07 and Sherry Panacea $295.04 from Golf Committee funds for course cleanup expenses, and the receipts were attached to that email. That was approved 6-0. They have a motion to reaffirm that one
So moved.
by Jim Krieger, second by Eric Lapp. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that one's approved, reaffirmed. And then on the last one is on the 10th, an e-vote to approve pool committee funds of $413.71 to reimburse Robbie Snow for payments for towels outlet for the purchase of beach towels, $640.50 to promotions by design for canvas boat totes, and $250 approval up to $250 for the family fun day scheduled at the pool. That was approved 5-0.
I'd like to change my vote to yes, because there's a no vote there.
Okay. Mr. Krieger's here, F, I think. You're E? All right, Mr. Krieger, so that now is approved 6-0. Can we reaffirm that vote? 6-0, since you're doing it, you just made a motion to do that?
I did.
And the second by?
Second.
By Dwayne. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved. Okay. A bunch of it, you could tell business was getting big as summer's coming.
Summer's coming.
Those e-votes were flying, and I really hate to send you people more than 2 emails in a day, but some days, I'm sorry, we just gotta give up. Okay. All right, Jim, actually, we've got the language in front of us for the dues and assessments.
Okay, just don't forget your non-committee fundraiser that you wanted to talk about. We can do this now.
Oh, thank you.
We can do this now if you want.
No, we'll do it now, I started it. But if you remember, the e-vote said that, we should scratch the word January in this and put September.
September 1, yeah, before I read that, let me ask a question, basically, Randy, I guess. If that passes on the 3rd Sunday, and it goes from $164.97 to $180 beginning September 1, is that really gonna screw up the books for the people that have already made their September payments? Would it be better to go to October? That's what I'm asking you.
On
If
August 28th, we'll bill for October.
Yeah, you have already built for September and been paid on it by a lot of people. You're gonna have some people that's paid annually and semi and so forth. But here's a bunch of people like me. I normally have paid mine way in advance of that.
Right.
We won't know if it passed or not. If you bill that on September, you're gonna have to turn back around and rebill them different.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if you wouldn't wanna wait till October.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Right in October, and that's the way Jim will read it. We'd have to read this one in the minutes.
I just thought I'd bring that up because it just
Good.
is real fun. Okay, let me get my spectacles on here. Okay, section 4, dues and assessments. The dues of members shall be the assessments imposed pursuant to the Code of Regulations as amended from time to time, and paragraph 8 of the deed restrictions for Hideaway Hills as to said lots and parcels. Effective October 21, effective October 1, 2018, the normal lot assessment for this lot or parcel, in parentheses, whether developed or undeveloped, owned by a member, is or shall be $180 per month. Effective January 1 of each calendar year from 2020 through 27, said normal lot assessment shall increase each year by the percentage of increase in the consumer price index for all urban consumers, open parentheses, CPI-W, close parentheses, as established by the Bureau of Labor Statistics of the U.S. Department of Labor for the preceding month of September of each calendar year as compared to the identical index issued for the month of September of the previous calendar year with the limit to the increase of 5% of the normal lot assessment charged for the prior calendar year. In the event of a decrease in the index, there shall be no decrease in the normal lot assessment. These assessments shall be payable in advance, either annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly. And the CPIW is the Bureau of Labor Index that is tied to Social Security.
You've heard the motion that's read.
I didn't make a motion.
No, you can't make a motion. May I have a motion to approve the proposed code language for the ballot?
So moved.
By Tom Matthews. Second? Eric Lapp. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm glad I brought that up about the October before I read it, so I didn't have to
That's
read
right,
it
you have to read it again. Hearing no opposition, the motion is passed, and that will be on the ballot. Now, we introduce the topic, talking about good timing, Deb. We get different requests for fundraisers that are not committee-oriented. Things such as Boy Scouts wanting to have the table outside the lodge or clubhouse. We had a young lady wanting to help raise money to send her on a mission trip. These are good causes. But they're personal nature, not committee nature, and the problem is that if they tag on to a committee event or sit out in front of one of our venues, a lot of people are, they walk by and they feel they're pressured because they know the people. And so we're just looking for some direction for the board. We have another one Deb is going to introduce tonight. And I'm going to let Deb introduce the one tonight because it's a little different yet to show you the things that happen. It's the caring community. And so, Deb, you gotta come up here tonight and tell us what you're proposing the board approve.
I'm really loud enough not to use the
No,
mic.
you're not. Yes, Eric, he's got a volume meter here because we're recording.
Yes, she is.
Oh, did you hear that? They'll get you. Go to it, Deb.
I'm here to ask for the board's permission to hold a benefit for a young single mom who's just recently learned she has stage 4 cancer. She is a HAH member for a couple years, almost. Lives right across from the golf course, the clubhouse. So in 2015, Rich Radowski was looking for help to pay for his granddaughter's medical bills, and we did a fundraiser through Thrivent with the support of Thrivent Action Team for him. They gave $250 seed money, and then he gathered a plethora of gifts and prizes from different businesses, etc. And he held it here in the great room and had it catered with pizza, etc., and had either the raffle type auction or the silent auction for these prizes, and raised over $3,000 for the medical bills. So Thrivent has said that they will help again, and we would like to hold this benefit at the shelter house. We have it on reserve, pending approval, and do the feed them picnic type food, and do raffles similar to what we do at HAH all the time, but to help raise funds for her medical bills, because it's Kara McCormick. She has already this year amassed $7,000, over $7,000 worth of bills, and her deductible is $7,000. So that's, they're pestering her already. And that's never good when you are ill already and going through clinical trials with OSU to then have that kind of cost. So it would be a destination. We could put it on like Facebook. sign, whatever, and it just word of mouth, trying to get some people. I don't know, Rich was wonderful with word of mouth when he did it.
Good, that.
Yes, he is. So we might ask him for help. But, and then have it be there. We have reserved June 23rd, I think is the date. It's a Saturday. And that is our hope and our plan if it gets approved.
Well, you may have mentioned it, but making some notes, that this Trident operation gives the fundraising people a checklist from suggestions. Okay, there you go. T-shirts, things like that. Tell them what to do so they do it well.
That's true.
And
They're
the other
very
thing is
supportive.
that clinical trials is, when you're at that stage, that's not a good thing. But he's still trying to working, and single mom, and it's a great cause. So, any other questions of Deb? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what I'd like to do is get a consensus of the board for how we could approve all these. And I outlined some things in an email, and I have to take a look at it, don't I? But I think I recall most of it. I'm saying if it's a personal in nature fundraiser such as this, that we're not going to e-blast it, so it's not a Hideaway Hills thing, but obviously they can use Facebook. I would say we ought to allow them to put it on the bulletin boards. I'm just throwing these out, by the way. I'm not saying this is what has to be. But we also allow them to use the shelter, either shelter, if there's not a conflict, or the great room if there's not a conflict. And the idea is now they're promoting and say, come to the event. So the people who are going to want to come will come. So now I'm just asking for input.
I'm just going back in time, and I can't remember whether you were on the board when Rich did this or not, but it seems to me that he really set a precedent by doing that, and that the board decided that we would look at each one individually as to what they're going to do, and when they were going to do it, and how they were going to do it, and then make a decision. So I think we'd set ourselves up to do this back then. Do you remember, Dave?
I think that's the way we handled it, yeah.
Yeah, because
It was a
it
case
threw us
by
all for a
case.
loop at first, because
Yeah.
it had never popped up
Never had
before.
it, yeah.
Well, that's what, if you want to have each one come here, do them individually, that would be how we respond. But I know Jim had to handle one. I was on vacation, and we just quoted the rule that, you know, it was, he wanted to do it very quickly.
Yeah.
And declined it. And the Boy Scouts did one, and it just slipped through. We never were asked, so I think that would be the thing. If that's what you want the person has to petition the board for it. Any personal fundraising?
That's the way we
Yeah,
handled it.
I think
that's what I was gonna suggest too.
Okay.
I think it should be an event thing too. There should be nothing set up like at a concert or at the auction or in places like that, unless it's cleared by that committee.
All right, so you're suggesting that you're in agreement with the idea that it can't tag on to a committee event or a Hideaway Hills venue.
Correct.
Okay, everybody in agreement with that, unless we approve it?
Which goes back to the
Case by case basis, yeah. And I think if we get to the point where we're getting a ton of them over and over again, then maybe we can come up with some general rules, but I don't think we get that many of those requests. do we?
Well, it's been so long since we had one.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, they haven't been coming to the board.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
some have slipped through, and then some have, we've said no. I know one just, when I said, wait, I'd have to bring it to the board, she just backed off. Okay, now, then we have a request in front of us tonight. So somebody want to make a motion to approve this
Make
one?
that motion.
Motion by Dave Miller, second by Wayne. To approve the fundraiser for Karen McCormick on June 23rd at the Shelter House. All in favor?
the shelter house is a great room, Deb.
Shelter house is where she would prefer it.
Main Shelter House. Any other discussion?
Do you want to put a protocol in there to those rules that you read off? Do you want to make that part of the agreement to do this? They can do this, they can't do this?
All right, help me with what you want.
I can't remember what all was on.
All right, all right. I don't think it has to be part of the motion, but I think we'll.
Here's what Greg said earlier today, is do not use the e-blast. You cannot set up to take advantage of the traffic at the lodge, clubhouse, or other HAH venues or community activities. You can use the HAH bulletin board, and you can use the shelters, great room, or Area 54 if there's not a conflict with other events.
So they're within those.
What about if you had also put them at the post office? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
They can use a bulletin board, they couldn't set up in front of the post office.
No, but I mean, use the bulletin board, because I think I thought you were talking about the bulletin board at Hideaway Hill.
No, I meant the post office bulletin boards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, you
Okay.
can specify that.
Yeah.
Not the front gate bulletin board.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, well, we will communicate back to Deb exactly what the rules are, when we understand them. So now, Dave's got a motion on the floor to approve the event based on what we've discussed. Any second, Dwayne's got a second, any other discussion?
I have something to say. Typically, if it's not a committee-sponsored event, we charge for the shelter house. Of course, it's minimal, but are you going to continue to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
So what is it, 25 or 50?
Yeah, it's not that much.
I think it's 15, you get 25 back.
Right.
As I recall.
Yeah.
Deb was
It
expecting
is
that.
minimal, yes.
Yes, it is.
Deb was expecting.
I think they told me it's 50 and if you clean it up perfectly, you get all but 10 back.
Something like that. I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Pretty generous, as long as you clean.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Deb, get going on it.
Yes, sir.
I also should mention that their daughter Jerry is really pushing this and going to be the key person to put it together. And I think it's really nice of her. They're very proud of her to take it on. Okay. Since we don't have.
Why don't I give people a heads up what we're talking about?
Go. All right, go on.
This is simply, it's back to the pizza ovens. The pizza ovens were approved in the amenity process, and they were purchased using that. Like often happens, we thought we had enough power, but we didn't have enough power, so we had to pay, and the club, the food operation, went ahead and paid for the improvement, the electrical power to run it. Now, as processes unfolded, as Randy indicated, or Jim indicated, it's really hot in there, and so since we can't, it's unacceptable to have somebody work there, we do need to vent it out. And again, we didn't know that at the beginning. And rather than asking the club or the management committee to do it, at the time of the process last year, the amenities process, there was a request for some upgrades, some unspecified upgrades to the POS system up there. After having talked to both the general manager and the other people on the food committee, we would like the board to consider allowing us to use some of the POS money to do this hood project. It's a higher priority in the immediate time. There still will be money left over. It was $8,000, which was authorized, and so Randy's thinking this is going to be somewhere between 2 and 3. So we would be able to use that as a higher priority item, and then use the remainder of it for some of the upgrades. And of course, with a new person coming in the food service, there'll be some transition issues there anyway. We want to give him the opportunity to work with Kat and come up with what he wants in that place. So I think it's something the Food Services Committee is behind, and however, if we do change, move money around on amenities, it does require board approval. So we'll give you a heads up, but that's what the general gist of it is. And so I don't think I haven't heard any of the persons, management committee or the food services people who are doing anything other than recommending this to you. So
This is not a simple exhaust fan. It's a hood, and it's got to be approved for commercial restaurant use. So it's a custom designed hood. All right, so we'll e-vote it once we get the amount.
we get the real amount, we'll get it out to you. But does anybody have any questions about it?
And then they can put pizzas out. Oh boy, can they get them out fast. So if you have an event like Lakes, taking the boats out or putting the boats in, we can supply pizzas for them.
They got all three of them ready to go right now.
Yes, they are.
And as long as they can, it's not 86 degrees, they're running as many of them as they need.
We've ordered pizza several times and they're always ready in 20 minutes, even on Thursday and Friday night.
It's a conveyor operation, just one side.
By the time I can drive up here from my house, they're done.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna ask Mr. Lapp, are there any new members?
Yes, there are.
I don't have 62.
Do not.
I'm not the only one who loses my paper.
Here in my hands is the list of the new members. I'd like to,
Could you please speak into the microphone so I can see?
yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to approve the following new members. Todd Blind and William Robbins of lot 140 and half a lot, I guess, of 139. Also Eric and Kathy Boysko, lots 374 and 375. Old Leonard Investments Ltd., Jim Henderson and Kathy Holloway, lot 1936. Patricia Kunerth Crawley and William Crawley, maybe it's Crowley, lot 2079, and Constance McGreevy, lot 510.
Eric made a motion, can we have a second to approve those new members? I see Dave Miller shaking his head, I'm taking that as a second.
It is.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, there is none, so the new members are approved. Is there any additional business to come before this board? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Eric Lapp and by Jim Krieger. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned, we've got the executive session, so if you want to stretch.
This is almost short.
It is. Get home before the tornado comes.
Hey, Cindy, could you give me an order of, I'm gonna get three chicken soft tacos?
Extra onions?